Why won't my horse canter, or how do I help my young horse canter? How do I help my green horse canter? That is the question we'll work through today. So I already did a video on how to ask my horse to canter, and I did it with my more educated horse, and now we're going to have a look at the greener horse. She's probably 3 or 4 years behind my gray horse, my Oldenburg, and she's also off the track, so she's got some things that she knows things that maybe are not important, and we have to work through those. So we've established that how you ask your horse to canter depends on what horse you're riding, your experience, their experience, and your discipline and your personal goals. So for me, it's inside leg at the girth, outside leg comes back. That's how I ask for canter, and ideally it's very light pressure, so I don't have to kick them into the canter. But when I'm working with horses that haven't been asked to canter very much, not very balanced, not very strong, aren't super confident about your cues, the rules change a little bit, or maybe there's less rules. So with the more educated horse, I can ask for him to canter on the straightaway, and I can ask for a particular lead, and I can ask for him to be collected. I can ask for him to do it from the walk to the canter, from the trot to the canter. I can ask for it on a circle. And he's pretty well capable of doing that. I can ask for a lot of engagement, energy, impulsion, all the things. But for her, who's barely able to give me the correct lead in a corner, I have less rules. So I usually start the younger horses, assuming they're already going at least well enough to go out to the large arena, in a corner, because the corner is supportive and helps the horse know, or at least helps the horse get the correct lead, even if they don't know that you're asking for a particular lead, when you have a certain leg at the girth and a certain leg behind the girth. Because in a corner, generally, you have a wall on one side and a wall in front of you. So like this corner I'm coming towards, there's a wall on the right side, pretend wall, and a wall in front of me, so I must go left. Or at least 99.9% of the time, go left. So for these guys who know that I'm going to go left, when I ask for the canter, they just get the left lead because they say, well, I can't go right and I can't go forward, so I might as well go left, and I might as well get the left lead while I'm at it because it's going to be easier for me. So I'm going to ask her for the left lead canter. And you'll notice I don't care about her head position. She doesn't have to have a super engaged trot. Transition doesn't have to be great. There's less rules. All she has to do is go into the canter relatively smoothly, relatively prompt, and ideally get the left lead. Because I've got my left leg at the girth and my right leg back. Sit and ask. And we go left. And she's done it enough that she's got a pretty good little canter. Pretty easy. Getting out of the canter is the same. There's not as many rules. It doesn't need to be collected. It doesn't need to be beautiful. Ideally, we're working towards that, and I keep working on exercises that help her achieve a more engaged, smooth transition to trot. But it doesn't need to happen today. All we need is the correct lead and the canter. And if your horse can't even get the canter, then you don't worry about the lead. You only worry about the canter. And that's why I start in the corner, because generally horses are smart. They're going to get the correct lead, unless they're usually stronger on one side or the other. And then you just have to keep asking, keep setting up exercises that help them figure out which lead and get strong enough to get that lead. Because they don't know what a lead is. They're just doing what's comfortable, what feels balanced. So once my horse has knows that I want the canter, when I ask inside leg at the girth, outside leg back, and usually I'm in sit. If I'm on a really young horse that hasn't cantered before, I might stay even lighter in my seat than usual, just to help them want to go forward. Like there, I was just a little bit lighter in my seat. But ideally, you sit and be very still, so the horse doesn't have to so that you can be more balanced. The horse doesn't have to deal with you being unbalanced. Good girl. Those are pretty good. So once they're pretty good, they get the canter when you ask either lead, and then they get the lead that you want in the corner consistently. And then you can start to move to the rail, and this horse is just starting to move to the rail, so she might show you what will happen with your horse. So as we're coming down the rail, I think I'll go to the other side. So I'm coming towards you. I'm going to ask at E, so I'm going to start to prepare, sit up tall, sit, cue, good girl. And it's not quite as balanced because she doesn't have the support of the corner, but she did get the lead. Good girl. So I give her a pat for that. That's perfect. We'll ask for the other lead, see how she does. And you can do exercises kind of like what I just did there, which is a half 20-meter circle, then ask on the straightaway. And that's kind of a nice bridge from using the support of the corner to starting to move towards the rail, because you've kind of got a little bend here, and then you sit and you ask on the straightaway. You have them go straight for a little. Girl. And remember, the collection's not important. The way she looks is not important. It's things to work towards. But you only want specific goals, and get really good with those specific goals before you add more rules, new goals. So here we're going to ask at B. We sit, inside leg, outside back. Oh, she's going to get the wrong lead, so I'm going to use the corner. And that was kind of slow. It was a little bit rough. So you just kind of slow off my leg. No problem. This means we got things to work on. Good girl. She's become a lot more uphill since I got her. She's come a long ways. Maybe a year of consistent work. And there she's just like not quite understanding. Good girl. So I used more inside leg, and she was wanting to dive a little harder to the right and get the left lead instead of the right lead. Good girl. So I said, no, let's lift up the right shoulder so it's easier to get the right lead. So that's another reason why I like inside leg at the girth, outside leg back. It kind of lifts up the shoulder and it helps get the correct lead. She's still going to get the wrong one. So you can see how she has a much harder time on the straightaway getting the right lead than getting the left. So we're going to try one more time. And you got to watch your body too, like what you do with your body. The Turner, she's pretty stuck. So this is like a corner. See how she gets the lead? So she needs a little bit of support there. Good girl. Inside leg, outside back. That's it. I don't think I was moving my outside leg back as far. So you kind of have to troubleshoot what's going on. And for younger horses, younger than her, greener than her, I wouldn't ride them so far into the corner. That's a lot of work. But she's far enough along that I can ask for a little more bend in the corner. Good girl. So now you can kind of see the progression. And I'd do the same thing for a horse that I don't know, that maybe has some experience, but maybe doesn't understand your cue, because everyone does it differently. So you guys just aren't getting the correct lead, or you're not getting the canter. I would start as if they were green in the corner with less rules. So you have a clear goal, and you can reward them for that, for when they get it. Good girl.